late. Now all of the replays guys are in the Facebook group. So some of the clients can't be here. One of which is Barbara. Barbara is a speech pathologist that specializes in respiratory problems. So she catches it later. And then Kylie has been working on a new computer system for her husband's office. So you can catch this replay too. Okay, she'll be joining us soon. But today I'm going to do a review and then we're going to look at today's topic. Today is crucial. So now is the most important point in this coaching program. Because we're really going to dive into how to learn this practice. So it's important, it's absolutely crucial for you to be here if you can. I understand if you can't, but guys, we got to practice this stuff so we feel confident and we can bring this forward again and again. So that being said, I'm going to share. I'm not going to share yet. Sorry. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, I want to give you the overview. Okay, so first of all, we covered 4 modules. Module 1 was really the beginning. That's where we opened up the curtain and we uncovered the unhelpful patterns that are currently alive in your relationship with yourself. That's always the best place to start, because in anything that has to do with our brain, the first experience is awareness. Before we have anything, before we have any thought, we have to be aware. So when we start uncovering our own unhelpful beliefs, that's a really good start. And when we approach ourselves with non-judgment, which is even more powerful, it just gets that much more liberating. The second module was where we dove into the different kinds of boundaries. And the reason for that is so we can sort out our emotions and get clear on specifically what boundary is being violated for us. And most of women in this group are going to find that the 2 boundaries that are generally really violated for us are emotional boundaries and mental boundaries. So I just wanted to tap into that. And we also, that led into module 3, which was understanding what you feel and need. And this is, I think, the superpower for women. And this is also, guys, why we get so confused, okay? Because we shove down a lot of different emotions because we're emotional, right? We communicate. Right. And we want so bad for our needs to be met. We also want to be really good daughters. We want to be good kids. We want to be good wives. We want to be good mamas. We want to be all these things, which, you know, is not a bad thing. There's a really toxic word that's popular right now. It's called people pleaser. And people pleasing is a real thing, but it's overused on Facebook and it's overused in the area of boundaries. Because what happens is that wanting people to be happy, wanting people to feel loved is our natural birthright as women. However, when we're giving up our freedom and when we're giving up knowing who we are, now we're people pleasing. And now we're over functioning. And that's a really important word for us to remember because we're high achieving women. And when we're over functioning, then we end up going, I don't know who I am. And that is the most painful, lonely, anxiety-induced place to be. If you have not experienced that, oh my God, you were so blessed and so blessed that you caught it. I gotta tell you, it is the dark night of the soul when you have no idea who you is, which is why which is why I wrote module 3 and 4. Okay, so module 4, it starts heating up, because once we know our emotions, now we learn how to regulate them with a self-care. And if you don't have a self-care toolkit, get a hold of me. I'll send one over to you. And self-care is crucial for us as women. It's everything. And self-care isn't the pedicure, the makeup, all the stuff, you know, that's called self-maintenance. It's not self-care. Self-care is when you're doing something, you're going, this brings me unequivocal pleasure. Something as simple as sitting on a park bench and eating a turkey sandwich, watching the kids play in the playground brings me pleasure. And that's self-care for me. Okay. Now, I've been all over the world. I've been to 5-star spas, all the bullshit. But I will tell you at the end of the day, self-care comes back to, for me, those moments of really connecting with little children, or animals, or, you know, going out
Yeah.
a neighbor horse, something as innocuous as seeing the old lady next door and pulling weeds for her just for the hell of it. So
Yeah.
self-care is important, guys. And then that leads into module 4, which is, I think, this is where it heats up and gets crucial. Okay. If we do not identify our fear and guilt, if we don't identify these beliefs we hold about ourselves, then we will never be free. Okay. So more than any other module, module 4 is a pivotal moment, because that's where we get to look at our true beliefs. You know, no one can do it like I can do it. I show up for everyone, but I don't expect anybody to show up for me. Boy, is that damaging. Know it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
here's the thing, everybody, I cannot express enough to you guys how important it is to understand the risk and consequences of any of these unhelpful beliefs to you. Okay. Now, Corey, I think that you're very clear on this because you have really gone through it.
Oh, yeah.
You've had a lot of grief and heartache. And so it's really crucial to understand what risk that is for you and for your health.
Yeah.
Me too, Corey. There was a reason, and now I hate to say this because we know there's lots of reasons for breast cancer, but I gotta tell you guys, I was in fight or flight, being everything to everyone, had no idea who I was. And check it out, I had a mastectomy at 40. Okay. There was real physical consequences. And so we want to look at module 4 with love and grace and really own whatever we're playing out there, whatever is going on. Okay. So when we talked about fear and guilt, that also fed into the story and the truth. By the way, nice job working that, Corey, at the beginning. Nice job.
Thank
And Holly, you and I have really gone through the roller coaster on this one. You know,
Yep.
Holly coached with me one-on-one in my office before she did the group.
you. Okay.
So we've really kind of navigated a lot of that. And so looking at the consequences for us personally, that 100% is going to make or break your boundaries. Because if you're not willing to own the hell, then you're not going to fight for yourself and your reciprocity for others. Okay. Okay, module 5. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Module 5. So you're muted, but you're very animated. I like
Sorry, I had a delivery of live plants and I needed to get them out of their box. And yeah, I wasn't expecting it. So anyway, sorry.
I love those fun, unexpected moments. Plants are good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Okay, so module 5, here we go. First of all, can everybody give me one takeaway from the first 4 modules? And I'm going to start, you can raise your hand if you'd like to give me a takeaway for you personally. Corey.
So last week really did hit home when you were giving us those, when you shared that chart of what we do. I don't have my, oh, I do have my notes. Hang on. I
It's
was like,
okay,
"Did I
you're
do
good,
that?"
honey. You
It's
don't have,
like
go ahead.
like the emotion and the mindset and stuff. Like I feel this when I'm doing this, and I was like, well, I do that a lot. So that kind of helped me realize, okay, yeah, I do need to kind of change that, because I'm the people pleaser and I want everybody to like me and I don't want to let anybody down. So I need to give myself permission that it's okay to say no. And, and if somebody feels like I let them down, I can't take that with me. And that's going to be on them. And for me, it's because I'm not being intentional when I'm doing that. So I need to not carry that guilt and saying, wow, I let them down. But that's how they're feeling. That's not my intent. So I need to like practice and say, okay, give myself permission that it's okay to, and if that happens, then I can apologize, but I'm not going to be like groveling or like, oh, I'm sorry I let you down. Okay. Because I wasn't intentional. So yeah, that's what stayed with me last week.
Yeah, and I think that's really powerful. And that's a powerful takeaway. For me, that was a defining moment also, Corey.
Mm,
I think that really believing that is on you. That is
mm-hmm,
a really helpful thing because this is my side of the street, that's your side of the street. This is my lane, that's your lane. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to let
mm-hmm,
you stay in your lane. And, I am so sorry that I was not able to do A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z. I fully intended to. How can I help in the future? Right?
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
in that case, I think that's really powerful. And we might find, ladies, as we start practicing saying these boundaries, understanding that's not on me, that's on you, that might come out in not such a pretty way.
mm. Yeah.
You said it, give yourself grace. Okay.
Mm,
Because now you'll back up and you'll say, what's a different way to say that in the future?
yeah.
Don't apologize, though. Never apologize for standing in your power and speaking your truth, because then you'll have to go back on the hamster wheel and start all over again. That's the way relationships kind of work.
Mm,
Anybody
okay.
else? What are your takeaways from the first 4 modules?
Um, I'm not dealing a lot with boundaries in my daily, like having to, you know, declare my space because I live in my own space. I don't live with anybody anymore right now. But one of the things that I've seen is just through our discussions and stuff is how my whole family has built these walls around boundaries. When they put up a boundary rather than communicating, they build a wall. And it's not just me. It's it's a real big family thing for us, and we all need to work on being better about communicating those boundaries so that we aren't building a wall, we are creating a bridge with that. And it can start with me. It can start with me.
I love that. So change begins with me.
Mhm.
Mahatma Gandhi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
But I see that it's not just me. That was the thing. I was sitting here kind of beating myself up about, oh, I put up this wall here and I've put up this wall here and I'm not communicating with this person because I put that boundary and it was like, I am not going to deal with this. I am not going to let you treat me that way. So I did the boundary, but I didn't communicate it in a way
construct.
that there was an opening, that there was a way to communicate. And but then, yeah, going through the stuff,
Nice
it's
job. Okay, so if we were coaching one-on-one, let's just imagine we're coaching one-on-one. I would talk about closed mindset, open mindset. And there's
uh-huh.
words that come up that demonstrate a closed mind and a belief system, and an open mind and belief system, one of which is I don't. Okay, it's true, you live in your own space. However, there's boundaries, which we know there's all kinds of boundaries, one of which is personal boundaries, right?
Mhm.
Which, and those, by the way, Holly remembers this, I'm sure, is that personal boundaries are the time we go to bed. What time do we go to bed? How do we nourish ourselves? What's our spiritual routine? This comes back to self-care. So
Right.
if we were coaching one-on-one, I may invite you to explore self-care and explore how about, yes, you're in your own pod, but how about your relationship with you. And then the second thing, when it comes to your family, you realized in the first 4 modules that we all can build walls to protect ourselves. And this is natural when we've been hurt. And there are
Yeah.
something called hard boundaries, right? And then there's healthy boundaries, and then there's weak boundaries. A hard boundary is, this is a wall and I'm not going to change it. A healthy boundary is to be able to say, I need, I want, when the behavior happens. By the way, module 5, when I see this behavior,
Right.
this is how I respond, and this
Right.
is what I want, and this is what I need because.
Right.
And then a soft boundary is using too many words and apologizing and backtracking and all these extra softs, right? Something women are really good at because we're storytellers by our very nature. So coming back to the current moment, guys, this is a teachable moment. Oh, oops, I'm a coach. This is a coachable moment. So this moment, I would say that sometimes hard boundaries are not a bad thing because they have kept us safe during a very hard time in our lives. Okay. So the
Mhm.
question to ask is, do I need this now?
Right.
Because if now this no longer serves me, which, by the way, I bet this reminds you of somebody you sit with maybe once a week or once a month, right? I know you've heard this before. Your therapist. So
Oh, right.
if we put that up, we can say, hey, this was there at a time in my life to protect me, but now it no longer serves me well, and I can learn now how to go over, under, or around, allow a little space, so I can feel strong and empowered in my own body mind. So I can't control others. They want to have a hard boundary, like Corey says, that is on them. That's good news because you don't have to carry that around like a ball and chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you still have to show up for you at the end of the day. So that's a great share. Okay, here we go. Module 5. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Well, did Holly have something?
Holly, do you
Oh,
have a share?
oh, the share for the takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I'm learning that because I've always been brought up that boundaries are kind of like bad. You know what I mean? And that I should be feeling guilty. And I'm just learning like, no, they're not bad, and I can actually use them to work to my advantage. Like this last weekend for Mother's Day, they wanted to come over here, and I'm like, hey, you guys, the house isn't ready. Can we just go out and maybe do something that might be more fun? And yeah, let's do that. It's not, and it's like, hey, I'm learning that, hey, I can change this to my advantage.
Mhm.
That's the bridge building that I'm learning,
Nice.
and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard at first, but it's getting easier. I've noticed that too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what you're tapping into though are values. So when we use
Mm-hmm.
the word that's kind of hard, now you get an opportunity to explore your values and say, am I manipulating, or is this something I really want? Okay. So
Right.
I think that this
Yeah.
is
And there's
something.
a fine line.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a fine line there, but my house isn't ready. I don't have time to get it ready. That's not, like, no, I'm not manipulating. I really need this.
Nice job.
You know what I
And
mean?
so because you're a master at this, and because we've coached together, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
You can
Go
come
ahead.
to my office and kick me in the shin if you want later. What's the truth?
What's the truth? The truth is that I need my space. And sometimes I need to claim it. I need, and tell them, hey, look, I just don't have time right now to get this done, or it needs to be about me right now.
Nice job.
That's the truth.
Repeat after me. I don't want to.
Yep. I want to.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Nice job. Mom, I don't want you over here. Don't say that.
Yep.
You can say, whatever, but
Mhm.
no is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you want to go somewhere fun for Mother's Day, man. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
We had a great time. It was awesome.
Unlimited mimosas. Boy, don't get me
Yeah.
over there. You're going to have to carry me out. I'm an athlete. I like to win. I'm in it to win it. Yeah.
Yep.
Never drink with me. I'm just saying. Okay, here we go. And there's a reason why I don't drink, and now you know. Okay, here we go, guys. So this week we're talking about module 5. And this is one of my favorite modules because when you get this down, guys, this is your superpower framework. And here's the truth. I am not a journaler. I don't write stuff down every day, but I do know one thing for sure. When I'm struggling with the boundary, every time I write this out before I went to see my adult daughter, I wrote out my superpower framework because it really actually allowed our visit to be much more comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation. Okay. So a superpower framework. The PDF, guys, that you have with this program, I swear to you, it will serve you well. It is a lot of written stuff that does not come from your mouth. Do not use it. Rewrite your own thing. That's why we do a lot of practice, because I want you to use your words. And when we use our own words, then it sticks. That's really a superpower. But it's a great framework. I've used this again and again. Okay, I just brought a local, I want to share with all of you Win in Victory. I have a new client. He is a doctor here in my town, and he has hired me to do Warrior Goddess Boundary Builder. I gave him my big ticket offer, which is a 4-month offer. And now this is really cool because this is going to help his wife exponentially. And it's going to help him too, because check it out, men need boundaries with us. Yeah. So when you disagree with somebody, here's a framework. When we understand the situation and then we outline the person's behavior, it's going to help us understand how we feel. Okay. And how you respond is definitely like, maybe you didn't respond so pretty. Maybe you got, you said it's on you, like, it's on you, that's on you. But you also have a chance to step back and say, hey, how did I feel? And guess what? Even under the nasty connotation, you felt pretty good because you acknowledged to yourself it was on them. And then you could say, what boundary did they cross? Well, they crossed your boundary of, they know you're a people pleaser. They know you want to please everybody. So now they're taking advantage of that. And you have a boundary. You don't have to please everyone. Okay, so they can come back and say, hey, you know what? This is how I want to try it next time. Never apologize, though. All right, here's some examples. I disagree. I appreciate your opinion. All the things. Now, some of these might work for you, some of these might not, but the really good part is you get to put it in your words. Okay. And then the second was saying no to a request to somebody you care about. And then, of course, the third was situations where someone knows how to push your buttons. This one's crucial. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I'm putting my needs first and you won't make me feel guilty. And I also want you guys to know with that statement, nobody makes you anything. All right. So you make you feel guilty. I had to reframe that. All right. And then when someone gives you unsolicited advice, this is something too, if you ever did Accelerate Your Intimacy with me, this is one of the 5 secrets to intimacy. Your partner, your lover does not want your unsolicited advice. He will ask for it. And just kind of a side note, a little bit intimacy coaching here. When you want to share some advice with somebody, you say, would you like to hear what I think of that? Okay. Plus, by the way, guys, kind of off topic, men think you want them to solve your problem. You just want somebody to talk, a sounding board. They will try to solve your problem. This is your opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I hear you, but I need for you just to give me space to share my feelings right now. And because again, unless you ask for their advice, you know, they're not allowed to do that. Okay. So let's go back to these. There are 3 areas, I think, or 4 areas. Okay. When you disagree with someone, there's number 1. Number 2, saying no to a request to someone you care about. I hope I didn't miss that originally. Number 3, a situation where someone knows how to push your buttons. And number 4, when someone gives you unsolicited advice. Okay, let's play this out. Which one out of those 4 would you like to give us your answer to? So feel free to raise your hand. I'll review them again. Anybody want me to go over those again? Okay. The first one is a situation when someone knows how to push your buttons. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go back. Duh. Okay. The first one is when you disagree with someone. The second one is saying no to a request by somebody that you really care about. The one after that is a situation with somebody who knows how to push your buttons. And the last one is when someone gives you unsolicited advice. Which one of those would you like to share your own words, your response to? Feel free to raise your hand when you're ready to share. Holly?
Yeah, the unsolicited advice, which we get a lot of. People always give us business advice because we run our restaurant, and they think that we're running it wrong or we need to do things different. And I usually just tell them, well, thank you for your opinion, but we've been doing this for 25 years, so I think we're doing something right.
Okay.
You must be doing something right.
Okay, so let's see what the rest of the group thinks of that. So ladies, when you hear that response, how do you interpret that? Can
I
you
think
go ahead, Corey?
I like the beginning when she said, I appreciate your opinion. But then at the end, when you said, we've been doing this for 25 years, I think we're doing something right. And I guess it just depends on the person you're speaking to, because sometimes maybe they will take that as like, mind your own business, but out, more harsh than how you're meaning for it to come out. You know what I mean? That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Holly, would you like to reframe that?
How would I reframe that? I'll take your opinion into consideration.
Interesting.
That's a good one.
I
Let's,
like that.
let's be
That's a good
honest.
one.
Will you take their opinion into consideration?
If I think it's a good idea, I will. I have in the past, yes.
Okay, nice job. So that works. That's workable. Okay, way to go. I love that. And I think that's powerful. Okay, we've got we've got two more of you. Next.
Can you go back to the one about pushing your buttons? Saying no to somebody who knows, when a situation when someone knows how to push your buttons. Wow. See, in that case, it's that would be my father.
Mhm.
Because like I've told you, Laura, like he'll call me if I'm in the middle of a Zoom, or if I'm driving or something, he calls, and so it's like I don't know what it is, but the man calls at the wrong time. I swear, he calls at the wrong time, and when I try to call him back, he won't answer. That's like that passive aggressive, like, well, I'm not gonna answer her because she didn't answer me, kind of behavior. And so yeah, he knows how to push my buttons because he does that a lot. And I don't know if, and I've never told him that. So I think I need to tell him, when you don't answer me, when I call you back, I feel like you're doing it on purpose to make me feel bad, or, to make me feel guilty for not answering your call right away, you know because like when I do call and when I call him later or we talk later, and he'll tell me things like, oh, I could be dying and you're not going to answer the phone, or this and that. And so it's like little guilt trips that he gives me. And I'm real, like, I can get spicy with him. So I'll tell him, the phone works both ways. You can call me as many times as I can call you.
Okay, so can
you
you
know
give us your short dialogue again?
Say that again.
Can you give us your short dialogue again?
Yeah. So when he calls me and it's a bad time for him to call me, I don't pick up the phone. But then as soon as I'm free, I call him back and he doesn't answer. And then like later on when we do talk, he'll make remarks like, I could be dying, and he
Okay,
never picked up the
so,
phone, things like
so
that.
what's your dialogue? What are you going to say to him?
Um, well, that's the thing. We usually do that spicy thing, like, you can call me back, or things like that. But I need to tell him, I apologize that I didn't pick up the phone and explain what I was doing, or I was busy. I couldn't take your call at that time. But when you don't answer me when I call you back, that makes me feel like you're intentionally trying to hurt me or make me feel bad for not catching your call when you called that
Okay,
first time.
okay.
So
So feedback?
Hmm.
I would
Sounds like
not apologize. I
I,
would not apologize.
mm,
You have your
or,
life. You
hmm.
know, you don't, you aren't obligated to drop everything when he calls. And yeah, yeah, it's so passive aggressive, Corey.
it is.
It's like
Yeah,
hear
it
those
is.
on a chalkboard to me. I hate that
Yeah, it
passive
is.
aggressive stuff.
Yeah, and so
It
Corey,
is.
see where it says, I would appreciate. So Dad, I would appreciate it if you call me, if when I call you back, you get a hold of me, because I feel whatever your feeling is. Okay.
Okay.
Can you do that, please? So then you get his acknowledgement. So this part
Okay.
says, I would appreciate, the rest ignore, but it'd be like, I would appreciate it if,
Mhm.
and then you talk about the behavior, right?
You're right.
And then you say what you want. and then you say how you feel, and then you get his buy-in. Can you do that for me, please? And Corey, honey, you're going to have to do that again and again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what would you suggest? Because I'm playing it in my head, and we've had these conversations, and my father, he is he could get real sensitive,
Mhm.
you
So,
know.
so
Like if I
start,
were to tell him that, I would appreciate it if you would, not
okay.
say that you could be dying and things like that. He'll be like, oh, so now you're just all, sensitive about this and da da da, and then hang up and I won't hear from him for weeks.
So
So
start.
it's like I don't know what to do.
Yes, I've got 5 minutes, so I'm going to give you the short answer. Dad, I love you. And can you do me a favor? When you call me and I don't get back to you, can you please, and then I call you back, can you please get a hold of me? Because, and then fill in the blank. So grab me, send me a text in Messenger and I'll write that down for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Deborah, which one did you want to unpack?
I can do when you disagree with someone.
Okay.
I had a big issue with my sister. This has been going on for like 5 years. You and I talked about it a little bit, how we don't talk. And she and I were in joint therapy about this, and it finally came out. She finally admitted that the reason why she hadn't been talking to me was because she felt that I hadn't done a good job raising my daughters. And in the process of this whole thing, she not only blew up her relationship with me, but also her relationship with my daughters. And she had a really close relationship with my oldest daughter, and she just blew the whole thing up. And when that cat came about, I said, look, I just don't feel like I can participate further in this discussion given that judgment. And the what I've regretted about that is that I feel like there was a lost opportunity. We have a wall back up again, and we're not communicating again. And so, and this was kind of inspirational to me to kind of rethink this, is that I should, what if I had, if I could say this again, I would say, I think that you've crossed a line or a number of lines, and I would like to find a way to pull this back so that communications between you, me, and my daughters isn't irrevocably destroyed.
Okay, that I want to say, because I'm going to kind of cut to the chase. Typically, I'd have the other 2 women in the room weigh in on this, but we're running out of time. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna finish this for you, and I'd like for you to come back in our Facebook group and listen to this. Okay,
Okay.
you too, Corey, but I'm going to give you the short in the messenger. But Deborah, what you said is awesome. But then you want to buy in. It was the same for Corey. You want to buy in at the end. Okay. So the buy-in
Okay.
would be, what are your thoughts on this? Or does that work for you? Or are you willing? Because that's finishing that communication loop, ladies. Remember that we're going to talk about this next week too, by the way. This is a superpower. So we're going to practice this next week also. So we're sticking with lesson 5 next week, because this definitely requires some practice. But once you have your dialogue that fits you personally, you'll be able to test this, because I want you to test this dialogue between now and next week when we have our coaching group, okay? Everybody, because then you can give me feedback on what you experienced and discovered. And this is how we get good at speaking our boundaries, because this is communication. It's a communication skill. So it's nothing, that is soft, right? This is a real science, which is why I love coaching it, because this is what I have one of my degrees in. Okay. So get the buy-in at the end. And you may not get buy-in, and that's okay, because that's where you come in the group and you share what you've learned. But this is important because we want to bridge gaps so that we can move through our lives with ease and also with freedom. Okay, so I've got to sew this up. I have a meeting with an executive coach. I'm collaborating as a relationship coach with executive coaches right now, so I got to get on that call. But come back to this recording, and guys, messenger me with anything, questions that you have. Go to the Facebook group, ask a question below, and if this is really private, messenger me. Okay, that's really valuable. So I hope that went well for all of you.
Yeah.
I love you guys. You knocked this lesson out of the ballpark. We're coming back to it next week, so do the thing. Okay.
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 All right,
Okay.
everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I really
Oh, you're
look forward to
welcome.
having you.
Thank-
That's why I bug you.